This is huge for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they pull off a massive road win against the New York Islanders in a game that saw Bobby McMann step up and, quite frankly, win them the game alongside Joseph Woll. Welcome in, everybody. A huge win for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know Team Canada lost and a lot of eyes were over there. So if you missed the game, we're going to break it down. Crazy third period. I know everyone was watching Team Canada, so crazy end of the Canada game and then the crazy end to the Toronto Maple Leafs game that saw some nuts stuff happen. A goal waved off in the last 25 seconds of the game. Regardless, a win is a win. Joseph Woll, an absolute masterclass. Spam up the Joseph Woll emote if you remember in the chat here. And Darius, an absolutely huge win for the Toronto Maple Leafs in a game that they desperately needed the win. They stay atop the Atlantic Division, and a big win from the guys tonight.
Yeah, they needed this one. And to get back on track a little bit, like in terms of stringing games together, which obviously they won just before New Year's, but to get some games back, and obviously they're, in the race there with Florida for first place. So this was a good one to pull out. And I saw a lot made out of, earlier in the day and on Twitter in the last little while about how the Leafs aren't playing a flashy style anymore. And, people wish that they were dominating games. I mean, they're finally playing very low event playoff hockey that I think is going to translate to the playoffs. And they're doing it while winning. Like, it's not like they're doing it and it's low event games and they're losing. They're doing it. They're playing great defense and they're winning games. So I'm all in on this. They don't need to win 5-0 for me to be happy. I think they're playing a style of hockey that Brube's brought in that will translate to the playoffs. So big win for the guys tonight.
Yeah, they're obviously without their best scorer. They come out and get the lead 1-0, obviously, and then they scored. And then fortunately, sorry, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Joseph Woll absolutely stood on his head tonight and was one of the key reasons that they won. And we do have Colin, so what's up, Jim, as well. Anyone who wants to call in, we will be taking those throughout the stream as well. Just pour me another Diet Coke. Let's go. Shane, speaking of Colin, Shane, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Regardless, a huge win. Let's dive into the box score a little bit here. And I mean, the star of the show was Bobby McMann. 2 goals, 6 shots on goal, just a dominant performance from start to finish in a game that didn't have many dominant performances. Shout out to OEL for the shot off the board pass, the whatever you want to call it in the power play. And speaking about the Leafs having a bad power play this season at times, the Islanders are 0 for the last 20, haven't had a power play goal in 10 games. So it's always worse somewhere else. But as you look at things here, I mean, Darius, it was the Bobby McMann show tonight. I mean, just phenomenal game from him. You can't complain. He's been very, very solid. Yeah, the Canada thing is unfortunate, but again, very, very solid. You look at OEL, you look at Joseph Woll was obviously the star of the show. Some huge saves down the stretch, and it was a game that saw some good things. The game that certainly saw some bad things. They're without their best scorer, Austin Matthews, and a lot of different things on the go there. But I'm very happy that the Leafs pulled this one off here, and ultimately, no matter what happens, they got 2 points, moved up, and hopefully they get some more offense going. But you mentioned it. The Brube style of hockey is very interesting, and it's a Bobby McGeezy. Yeah, I mean, a huge game for Bobby.
No, a great game for Bobby McMann. I mean, he stands above everybody in this one. I think he had a fantastic game. And first cap hit, like I've been seeing some stuff on Twitter the last couple of days again. That first cap hit, the value he brings this team is unbelievable. And that third line's continuing to do their thing, right? Like they took a couple games off, but they're right back to doing their thing. Are they going to stay together for the rest of the season? I don't know, but don't change what's working at this point. So they've been really good together. He's been a big part of that. And again, another couple nice goals tonight. Obviously, that one on the power play was great, but the first one, pretty impressive to me because Islanders goaltender is giving him all glove side. Like he was all to one side and he still goes short side and beats the goaltender. So that was fantastic. And again, it was the Bobby McMann show tonight. Not just him, Joseph Woll. Fantastic tonight. Couple of huge saves late, right? Obviously, that last goal that the Islanders thought they scored, the whistle went, whatever. It was a big save. So Joseph Woll was big again, but great game for the Leafs. Like their game, weathered the storm a little bit. I'm liking these low event games. Again, I think this translates to the playoffs perfectly. I think people are just wanting more domination or something as if that is gonna fuel something. I don't know what they're looking for, but I've seen a lot of that the last couple of days. I think this is a style that translates to the playoffs and they're going to be better for it, although the specialty teams has to get a little bit better, I believe. But again, that was a problem earlier in the season. It became not a problem, so I'm sure they're going to work on that again and figure that out. So great win for the Leafs, although Canada losing does make it a little more sour. I wish I was a little more up for this win, but yeah, it was a great performance.
Yeah, and those in the waiting room will get you in very shortly, so stay in there for that. And shout
We
out to
also have the impact chart.
cool, you can send that over. Shout out to Philip Myers for drawing the game-winning power play as well. I mean, not much he did
Yeah.
that, but I mean, shout out to him for having a bit of a positive impact there, especially at a time where he's battling every single game to keep his spot. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a huge win, and I think that's from fearing we can't hold a 1 goal lead. Yeah, and Joseph Woll, he showed some big things tonight. You desperately needed this out of Woll. I mean, you think about what they were coming into this game with, and regarding they're leading the Atlantic, and that is obviously the most important thing. They're playing very decent hockey, but it was a huge game for Joseph Woll, a huge game for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and again, a low eventful game. I mean, Team Canada, that game was high eventful. This one was certainly low eventful. Max Domi had a wide open net. He decided not to shoot it on the power play. It obviously didn't bite
It
him.
worked out.
Yeah, it didn't bite them in the butt at all because right after that, OEL with the off the board shot pass to, of course, Bobby McMann there. And even Nick Robertson was throwing his body around. Some got a hit or two there. Yeah, 3 hits tonight. Moving the puck well. Tavares really struggled tonight. He lost every puck battle. Yeah, it was a rough game for Jonathan Tavares. And as you look at the score chart here, I mean, Bobby McMann with probably definitely his best game of the season. Nick Robertson, I mean, this is a hilarious top 4. I mean, you have
I know.
Bobby McMann, Robertson, Benoit, Philip Myers. So everyone stepped up tonight, and the guys who have been on the top of the score chart all year, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, John Tavares, they were all near the bottom. So it's very intriguing. Wall looks as though he has refound his form at the perfect time. Absolutely. It was a great game. And a lot of these shots that the Islanders were getting were tough shots. Not all of them are easy give-me's like we've seen earlier on in the season. But Bobby McMann was probably one of the better games from any player in the NHL this season when it comes to offensive score impact. But Mitch Marner at the bottom, Nylander at the bottom, and Johnny T at the bottom. It wasn't a great game for them, but that's why you have these other guys. And I'm curious to see who gets the belt tonight. You'd have to assume it's Bobby McMann.
It's got to be Bobby McMann at this point. And also, if you look at the bottom of the impact score chart, like you brought up, I mean, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, that's an off night for sure. But Wall had a great game. I don't know. I would argue that I don't think he's ever lost form this season. Like he started pretty slow his first 2 games, but since then, I don't think he's been bad whatsoever. There's a couple games in there where you go, okay, he wasn't on his game tonight, but I think he's bounced back pretty good every time he's had one of those games this season, and they're not very many. So I think he's been great all season. He's doing a phenomenal job with Anthony Stolarz out. I mean, there was a small blip there, I think last week, a week and a half ago, where you're like, okay, this could be a problem, but I think they'll be fine. The problem may lie when the backup goaltender Dennis Hildeby has to get into a game, but for the time being, Wall played another fantastic game. He's tracking pucks so well, especially that final minute. Like he made a couple saves that are really impressive to me. So I think he's played fantastic. Also, I thought Benoit had a great game from what I saw tonight as well. Obviously, the impact score chart says that, but I thought he had a great game as well. Chris Tanev, I don't know where they would be without this guy, and he's played in every single game except one so far this season. So a lot of guys making a difference this year. I feel like we're really used to, somebody brought it up just a couple minutes ago. Forgive me, I forget who you are, but we're scared because we have a 1 goal lead. We're scared
Nick,
we're going
it
to
was
give it
Nick.
up. But Nick, yeah, it's a great point from Nick. Like the last couple of years, that is a scary thought. But this year, they're holding leads. They're playing way better defensively. So I really like the way they're playing, honestly.
Yeah, good game from OEL as well, and they ultimately got the win. Yeah, I was trying to get to 30 likes. We're at 13. If you enjoy the content and you want to see numbers go up, we all do. Click that like button. But let's get the first call in going here. Has been waiting for a while. Not exactly sure who it is, but we will find out now. Again, if you want to join the call or you want to get an opportunity to accept the call-ins, you can see at the pin message there your call-in number, and we'll guide you through the steps. But I'm curious to see what you guys' thoughts are about the Leafs game. I'm sure some people might have some thoughts about the Team Canada game. But again,
Yeah.
we'll start with the first number. I'm not sure who this is. I recognize the number briefly. Maybe it's Jim. Maybe it's Nick. I'm not entirely sure, but we will get them in and let's find out
Want to join the call?
right now. You're in
One.
here. Hello. Who are you?
Hey, this is Eric.
Eric. Okay. What's up, Eric? How you doing?
Well, what a stressful game.
Very stressful, especially in the last few minutes. It was, people were switching between the Team Canada game, which was stressful. The Leafs game, I thought they weren't going to hold it on there. But what did you see tonight out there for the Leafs? It was a win, but not the cleanest win.
No, it was one of those wins where a tie game going into the third, nothing's going to Leafs' way, and it just felt like the Islanders were going to come with the W the last couple of minutes there. But we got the W.
Yeah, it seemed like one of those games. I was getting that same feeling after the second period. It's still 1-1. very low event hockey. And then I'm thinking in my head, you know, the way the game was kind of going to that point, the Islanders are going to shoot from the point or the corner. It's going to get deflected, or Woll's going to miss it. It's going to go in, and that'll be the game. That's kind of what I was thinking. But I feel like that's the last couple of years kind of speaking to us with the way that the team was coached back then, and obviously, you know, the personnel on the team. But they seem different this year, right? And they're able to pull that out on the power play in the final minute. Philippe Meyer drawing the penalty, right? So, really good game to just stick with it. I feel like that's been the kind of topic of this year, and you know, the theme of this year, I should say, from Craig Berube, to just stick with it in games like this where they're 1-1, 2-2, and wait till the final minutes where you can capitalize on something like this, and they've been doing it. So I think that this style of play honestly will translate to the playoffs, and that gets me excited personally.
Yeah, I agree. Certain players need to step up their game as well. Willie hasn't had a goal or much play in the last couple of games, but that's also with his line mates that he has, right? He's got Knies and Camp. So for today's game in the third, I would have moved up, you know, Camp and Willie to the first line, so he has Marner, and just move Tavares and Patches down. But I'm not the coach.
Yeah, it was. They're fighting. At the end of the day, they're still without Austin Matthews. All that I'm really looking for now is, like you mentioned, Darius. There's a lot of it's a different style of hockey, something none of us are really used to here. But as long as they continue to get the points up, and it's not like the games have been less eventful for sure, but they're getting the points, they're stacking the points, they're first in the Atlantic, and I mean, ultimately, if they can continue to do what they're doing now, then they'll be in very good shape come playoff time, especially when it comes to Austin Matthews. And that's obviously the biggest question mark now, is what they're going to do as the trade deadline approaches to help shore up this team. But I mean, the Islanders weren't good. You'd like to see a bit of a more statement win against a team that's struggling mightily. But at the end of the day, they took care of business, and I mean, they did what they had to do at the end of the day. So I'm happy with it. Any final thoughts, Eric? You want to throw out your player of the game here before we move on?
Well, we got to obviously go with McMann. It's like this every year. We go through this through the regular season. We know the Leafs can stack up the points. Right now, their main thing, they need to get a hold of this power play, because going into the playoffs, if this is how it's going to go, I won't have much confidence at all.
Yeah. The power play is rough.
It will be tough, because we saw it last year. That was a big problem, right? In the second half of the year and in the playoffs, right? If they capitalized on maybe a few more of those, maybe you win that series. I don't know if they would have won the cup last year, but maybe you win that series. So that's something that they definitely have to clean up, because you cannot repeat that from last year.
It was really rough. And
and I just find that certain players play better with, Nylander doesn't produce any points with Knies or Camps, but there's no one feeding him like Marner or Tavares. If Willie is with one of those two players, he's going to rack up the points. And these close games, it's good, but, a couple of goals would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, and Marner's been. I also want to see, of course, like I've been saying all year, when Matthews does come back, I want to see Marner continue to stay aggressive. But at the same time, every time Matthews comes back, he always starts to lean on Marner. But we have a few other call-ins to get to. But Eric, thank you so much for the call-in. I'm sure we'll be hearing from you in future streams as well. So I appreciate you calling in.
Hey, thanks, boys.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Take care.
It's good points there. I mean, at the end of the day, the power play needs to be better. There's some things that need to be better, that need to be worked on. There's some personnel upgrades that the Leafs can definitely target. I mean, we're talking about Ryan Reeves obviously got into the lineup tonight. You have Philip Myers out there, but ultimately it wasn't too bad, as we are now going to, before we get into the next call-in, we had two people. I think someone dropped out of the call-in. We'll get to you in a moment here. We have a super chat from Robert Bet. Wall was very impressive tonight. Hell, the boys are really starting to like this kid, Philip Myers. Really played well. Putting him with Riley was a great move. Seems to be learning a lot. Yeah, and he drew the game-winning power play just by being near the puck. Like, obviously, he got tripped. He's not directly impacting that. That happened. But he was playing the puck. He was playing well, and it was ultimately good. As Jim gifts 5 members. We're getting close to our next emote. Shout out to you, Jim, Mike, RDB, Nav, Chris, and Ryan. Whoa, that was the wrong animation. But you guys, thank you guys again. Robert, I agree with you. Philip Myers looks really good. And of course, Jim with the 5, RDB, Nav, Ryan, Chris, and Mike. If you guys are in the chat, we have a bunch of emotes coming as well, so make sure to use those as you get them. But Darius, you have another call in as well.
Yep.
Robert, thank you. Jim, thank you. Again, if you want to call in, feel free to. We've had a few call-ins. A couple of them have left, depending on how long of them go. But again, you can call I like your video on Ride today on 100% training for Pedersen. I would also do that. It's just the cap situation is a little bit.
It's the cap, and you got to replace that. You got to replace Riley on D, and then you have no cap space left to do that. But man, with would that really solve a problem there for this foreseeable future on the center position?
Thank
But
you so much again,
interesting.
Robert.
Yeah, thank you, Robert.
And Jim, like usual. Thank you so much, Jim.
Yeah.
All right. Who do we have here now? I don't have, it just shows me the numbers, so I have no idea who this is. But thank you for calling in, whoever you are.
Nick and Darius, it's Jim calling. How are you guys doing tonight?
Jim,
Hello.
I'll memorize this number. I'm gonna take a picture of it so I remember. I got it.
Last time we heard from you, you were at the game, so you sound a little
Clear
bit
audio
well,
now.
well,
I can actually hear your voice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my girlfriend's not here at the moment, but I'm equally distracted trying to watch 2 different screens at once all night. So I will say this, though, about the Leafs. The first period from it did look a little sleepy on both sides. It didn't seem like it was very low event, to be sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think in the second period there was obviously that was where all the scoring took place. But I think largely, I lots of good can come out of this game. I think, and this is where I want to give all Leaf fans just a little bit of perspective here, in the sense that, like, I believe that this team, as we see right now, they're still in the top of the league, and they, given all the injuries we've sustained, and we're talking major injuries, where, to our arguably number one goaltender, our captain, number one offensive guy, out for significant time. We don't even know how long at this point, and yet they still find a way. And I think this is a team that in the past they would use these sort of opportunities to throw out the old excuses and be like, oh, and this would be losses. And yet for this year, they just keep going, and next man stepping up kind of mentality. And this is something I think has really been lacking in previous teams. And I largely credit Berube for bringing some of that in, and definitely for the players buying in on that as well. For tonight's game, I really like Woll's play. My big strike against him throughout the year, even when he was playing well, was his rebound control. He seemed to be much better this evening with that. And I think that's only going to grow over time, guys. And I'm just going to throw out one more thing here. I have been a big advocate. I've been very against Robertson over his time there. Years ago, when they brought him in the playoffs, I was amongst the people that were on the big bandwagon wanting to bring him in, and he shows these amazing flashes. I have to say, I've crapped all over this guy all year. I have to say that line, him and Domi, McMann, I'm telling you, that line, those 3 players have all had problems, whether they be injuries or inconsistencies, and for whatever reason, it kind of works with they're all kind of seem to be finding whatever formula they need to make it work, whether that be collectively or separately, but they're doing it. And I think that's the kind of secondary or even third tier scoring that we really desperately need. And wow, did it ever show through tonight.
I think with Robertson, the thing for me is, watching him in junior hockey, he dominated, but that's junior, right? Sometimes that doesn't always translate to the NHL, and it's not with him, that's for sure. But he's more of a complementary piece to a line, I believe, in the NHL, where he can finish plays, but you have to get him the puck. So I think him playing with a guy like McMann and Domi, for that matter, who can dish, is a perfect combination. Like, there's a perfect I know Berube likes to work in pairs, but that's a perfect 3-man line for everything that they do, right? You got the finisher, you got the playmaker, and you got the guy who's going to go in and get the puck in McMann, but he can also score. So I feel like it's a really good dynamic right now. It could slow down at some point. Maybe they look for another option near the trade deadline, but for the time being, don't split them up, because it's a really good dynamic. And that's kind of where Robertson has to play to be successful, because I feel like at times in his career here, they'll put him with top guys where he can't really keep up, or the top guy should have a guy like Zach Hyman on their line in previous years, or a Bobby McMann or a Matthew Knies, and they're sticking him with those guys. He's not going to find success there. So I think they found something for him here. It's working. He's continuing to play well. So just see where this goes. If they end up wanting to trade him, then go down that route. But I think with him, that's kind of what I've always thought of him. And I'm like, what, if you get him guys that can kind of get him the puck and make plays, then I think that he'll find success. But playing with the top guys in a role that isn't him, he'll look horrible.
Yeah, and just to add on to your point there, Darius, I think as well, in the past we've seen where if the core four, so to speak, if they were not stepping up, then this team was going to struggle, period. And that secondary and third tier scoring just simply wasn't there. And whoever it is moving forward, I'm just glad that we have that, because tonight was a perfect example of a game where we would have lost if those guys weren't showing up. And whether it's buying into a new system or guys just finding their confidence at the right time, I don't care at this point. I'm just happy that it's happening, guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great point. Sorry, Nick, just to jump in again, that's a great point that in years previous, this is something I talked about earlier this season and last season, that whenever they would call the guys up from the Marlies or they needed roles filled in the bottom six, these guys could not deliver. Whatever it was, they just couldn't deliver, especially the younger guys. Their games just wouldn't translate to the NHL. And I feel like it is now, like tonight with Bobby McMann. He gets 2 goals, you win the game off of that. There's going to be some nights throughout the season and in the playoffs, William Nylander scores 2 goals. Some nights where it's Austin Matthews gets the only goals, right? And that's fine, because on those nights in between, you have the depth scoring stepping up, right? And that's what good teams have. So I'm finally seeing that this season from them, and I think that's encouraging. And in these low scoring, low event games, which mimic playoff games. So I really love the way that they're playing this year. Like it has been a 180 for me. And I know they're not going to win every game, and there's times where you see these bad habits kind of creep back in, but any team, Tampa Bay, when they were winning their cups, the same thing happened with them. So I'm loving the way that they're playing. And I think that's a great point, Jim, about the depth scoring, because I noticed that change this year.
Yeah, I don't want to your time. I'm sure you guys got other guys that they're going to be calling in here, but I do want to say is that on those like low event games, I think like Leaf Nation has to kind of take a beat and realize that this is not the team we've watched for a teen number of years struggle with low event games and then give up a lead in the last this is a different team with a different strategy, and they are learning and they're actually adapting to what they're actually being told, and I like it. I'm one of these people. I've been a fan of this team. I'm 53 years old. I've been a fan of this team since I was 6 years old, and so I've seen all kinds of ups and downs and stuff. That said, I think this is not the team, and so I have to even myself, I have to kind of realize, it's okay to have these low event games, because I'd rather have a game where we're winning 2-1 or 3-2 than have this like track meet where we're trying to outscore our problems.
Yeah.
Exactly. Anyways, guys, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I wanted to applaud you for your observation of the Joseph Woll rebounds. See, I also noticed the same thing, significantly better tonight. Even though some of them, he still lets them go pretty wide, but he looked a lot more calm out there tonight. You saw him, the camera, at least in the Islanders broadcast, zoomed in on him with 20 seconds left, taking several deep breaths. So hopefully he can continue to play super sound, and that's what he looked to me tonight. He looked a lot more calm than he used to, and he looked more like Anthony Stolarz out there when you just have confidence every single time, a puck is shot at him. But Jim, thank you as always for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you again in the chat, and of course the call-ins for future games.
Absolutely, Nick. Let me know when you're coming down. I will. Well, we have to plan some kind of meetup, and then because I mentioned I'm not sure if I talked to Darius or I was talking to you, but like I do have some. I got some things for you guys to add to the channel that you guys can use or give away or whatever you want to do. But anyways, I'll leave that up to you guys. All the best. Love the channel. Keep it going. It's absolutely amazing. And go Leafs, go.
Appreciate it, Jim. I'll be up in 3 weeks time. 3 weeks time. But I'll text you. I'll text you the exact date. But thank you as always, and
appreciate it, guys.
Stay safe. Have a good night.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
The legend Jim. The legend Jim with the column with the Nick Robertson praise, which is crazy how far we've all come with Nick Robertson. Right. Marner needs to take a hometown discount, otherwise he'd be hated by Leaf fans. I don't think he cares. I think he cares about making money. I just don't think
there's a yes.
He wants his money, and that is what matters to him. And ultimately, it's what matters to most of these guys at the end of the day. Unless you're John Tavares, who does and probably will take a hometown discount. But very good points there made by Jim, honestly. I mean, Nick Robertson played really good. Joseph Woll looked really good. Rebound control, I still am less confident with him out there versus Anthony Stolarz, but with each game he plays like this, I'm confused. What's in 3 weeks? Meetup? I'll be in Toronto in 3 weeks, Shane. I will be in Toronto in 3 weeks. Eric with the new tier, Poppy tier. Didn't even know that existed. But shout out to you, Eric, for that. Shout out to you, Eric. Wow, Jim, good job. Jim getting some praise. Eric, thank you again for the support and the call-in as well. We do appreciate it. But yeah, Shane, I will be in Toronto at the end of January. I'll be in Toronto end of January with my girlfriend. And
Nice.
Darius will be there for a day or two.
Well, I'm here always. So,
True.
but yeah, I'll be there.
You'll be with me for a bit.
Yes.
Of course. At some point there. But yeah, we can definitely get into the 3 stars of the night. And
Yeah.
it's a big one. It was all the same though, a huge win. I know some people are deflated because better be a meetup if you're here. We can. Yeah, I can. I'm sure we can. Oh God, does everyone want a meetup? Is that what we're saying? Okay, well, Darius, we might have to.
We'll have to plan something.
I don't know where we do that because I feel like you need some sort of. We can just do it somewhere, restaurant or something. I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe a restaurant will sponsor Leafs Digest for a meetup. If you guys know any restaurant owners, let me know. If you own any restaurants out there and you want to be a Leafs Digest restaurant sponsor, Instagram DMs Leafs Digest YT. All right, let's go with the 3 stars of the night here. You can go ahead, Darius, and start with your 3rd star of the night.
My 3rd star tonight, I'm gonna go a little off the board, and the fact that he's making it into my 3 stars for 2 games in a row and at all this season, I think is pretty crazy. But it's gonna be. Let me put on the glasses for this. Just get suspenseful here for a second. Simone Benoit. Thought he had another great game where he was noticeable again tonight. His stick work was pretty good, and yeah, he's gonna be my 3rd star again. Any chance I have an opportunity to put him?
We had 2 people. You had Raptors, Dodgers, and Jim say the exact same thing at the same time. All right, Darius, it's your house. No, I can't compromise Darius's privacy in Toronto.
I did not sign up for this Raptors Digest. Shout out Raptors Digest. Welcome to the stream. But definitely Simone Benoit 3rd star. Nick.
Also Simone Benoit tonight. It was I was gonna say Phil Myers, but Benoit looked really good on the PK. Looked good on everything. Called Greta. They sponsor YouTube stuff. Interesting. Thank you guys. I don't know why I'm saying thank you guys. 3rd star is Simone Benoit. Very good game from him. Everything you just said, you stole from me, so we'll go there. And 2nd star, I'm gonna go ahead and steal from you, is Nick Robertson. Just kidding. It's Joseph Woll. Phenomenal game tonight from Joseph Woll. Honorable mention to, of course, Nick Robertson. I mean, Roa could have been the 3rd star. I just want to give Benoit his flowers when we have the opportunity to. Phenomenal game from Robertson, of course, as well. But Joseph Woll could be the 1st star, but Bobby McMann won the game for me. But I'll let you take over the 2nd star here. I'm assuming it'll be. I actually don't know.
We're actually going to go inverse here, I believe, because I know who your 1st star is. So I'm going to go with Bobby McMann as my 2nd star. And then obviously, for good reason, 2 goals on the night. And he continues his great season this year. He's on pace for, I believe, 25 goals. So he's been fantastic. And 25 goals for that contract and where he's playing in the lineup is really good. Like that's great value. So 2nd star for him. And then 1st star, go ahead and say it because we know who your 1st star is, Nick. Joseph Woll is my 1st star. And who's your 1st star?
Bobby McMann. Phenomenal game. And ultimately, he was the reason the Leafs won alongside Joseph Woll. But I mean, both goals and one of them on the power play, one of them even strength. So phenomenal. I'm very happy with tonight's game. I think it was a very positive step in the right direction. And they play again. It was a late one, though. It was certainly a late one. They play again when? The 4th? Yeah. They play again Boston Bruins on Saturday. So a huge Saturday game. Darius, will you be there Saturday?
I will be there Saturday.
Darius
I will be here for the stream.
Finally making a Saturday night stream. Can we get a?
I was here last Saturday.
Were you?
Yeah, I played the Washington Capitals. I believe
I think I was out last Saturday. Either way, we're here. One of us will be here for sure on Saturday. So make sure you tune into that. Collins, like you, that's a huge game. Obviously, big rivalry. Joseph Woll is expected against Jeremy Swayman against the Boston Bruins and Atlantic opponent as well. So Darius, it was a big win tonight, quite frankly. And I know everyone was caught up with the Team Canada. And ultimately, huge win tonight for the Leafs. That's my focus right now is the Toronto Maple Leafs continuing to rise up the rankings in the NHL and obviously maintaining 1st in the Atlantic Division. They are now 2 points ahead of the Florida Panthers.
Well, that's what they need. They need to keep on pace with the Florida Panthers. Not keep on pace. They need to overtake the Florida Panthers and take a stranglehold on this division. So another big game coming up on Saturday. Any Atlantic Division games, man, they are big games. So they got to win this game Saturday. Not just for that, but the mental aspect. Come on, beat the Boston Bruins.
I forgot Darius was there last Saturday. I get my Saturdays mixed up. It was Christmas. It was Christmas time. I apologize. Saturday night for the boys. Yes, Jim. Hopefully we'll see you.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Joshua.
And Maya.
First of all.
Boston and the Panthers lost tonight. So huge win. The Leafs gain a ton.
Yeah.
They gained 4 points technically up on the Panthers. They gained some ground there. So a 4-point swing. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, we will change season to Saturday. We will see you all in the video tomorrow, like usual. Your guys' support's phenomenal. Home stretch now of the of the first half of the season, at least until the All-Star break and things like that. So we're going to keep you up to date with everything like we always do. And, thank you guys again for everyone who supported Jim, Eric, and, of course, Robert as well. But phenomenal stream, phenomenal day for the Leafs. And hopefully we will catch you all in the video tomorrow. We'll have one for you. And, of course, a stream on Saturday. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great evening, everybody.
Leafs Digest, your daily dose of gold.